All right. 241 at the bar is always available. Welcome to Bolded Slugs. I am Zeus Ryan. Today we are joined by Jessica Brown. Jessica, tell the people how you are.
Hello. I am all sorts of emotions, but overall, bottom line, optimistic.
That's good because I generally am, let's say, not. So we'll see what kind of balance we can find during the course of our discussion today. So let's start with you. You're optimistic. So before I ruin it, let's talk about why. What are you optimistic about? Give me a little bit of the hopes and dreams kind of pitch for you. Where are you at? What do you do? What do you want to do? Who do you want to do it with? Like what's your pie in the sky kind of plan?
Wow. Okay, that was a lot. So, well, I think what I'm optimistic about, what makes me optimistic is the fact that we're having some discussions that we should have been having a long time ago in terms of women and people of color in leadership positions and in creative decisions, placements, and taking leadership of curating streaming platforms and man, all of that. I'm glad we're Issa Rae brought up that conversation and Taraji bringing up the discussion about pay
For
and
sure.
set conditions for African Americans specifically. And for me, like it's been my journey in this industry has been very independent. Um, Not necessarily wanting to be independent. I would love to be in a collaborative partnership with like Issa and
we,
those
we want to we
YouTubers.
we are the kids that were weird probably in school that were like, oh, group project, let's go, like.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I love group projects. I was that kid that was eager, always listening, like taking notes, like trying to keep everybody on task
for
and
sure.
roles sorted and organized and just keeping the flow moving. I was never allowed to be a full leader. There was always like, Jesse, we're going to partner you with this person to lessen the load. Um,
And conveniently that person was like, all right, you can do all of the work now, but I'll take half the credit.
Absolutely.
You son of a. Ah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Becky.
But that's okay because I mean, through that, I learned character. I built character. Every tough moment in this industry, I just chuck it up to be a character building experience because there's never fully the closure that I would hope for. And so,
you know
yeah,
the the lumps that we are kind of told that we are going to take, because I'm still operating from the position of being more outside looking in. I mean, I'm standing staring at the gates just as much as everybody else is. Some of us are closer to being on the other side of those gates, and I love it for those people. But it's like from the outside looking in, we're constantly told, "Hey, man, if you can do anything else with your life, go do it, because this is going to be just that much harder than life." And I would argue, no. I mean, I'm sure anecdotally, anything can be true. But I think if you're telling me that I can make stuff and be creative and have that thing that's been inside of me my entire life be available for other people to see, yeah, I'm sure that like 16-hour days are going to suck, but I can always turn around and be like, I made that shit. Like you can't do that. I used to drive trucks, bro. Like you can't be like, well, I put another 22-hour day in and I'm sleeping in the back of this cab at some roadside rest stop in Wisconsin, but by God, I delivered that pallet of stuff to that guy. It just doesn't
Uh,
feel the same. The creative arts just feel like, yeah, dude, I know things are gonna suck, but like the upside sometimes just feels so much better, right?
yeah, listen, like once you see the magic, once you experience magic on set, that even if you're not there from the development, like my primary income is background or stand-in.
For sure.
So I'll be brought into sets and I'll see the most amazing sets and performances, some of the most iconic actors. But if you're in there from the development, like the creation of the idea to the execution of the idea to the screening of the idea to the celebration with the community that you developed,
Hmm.
all of that magic, you want to repeat that over and over and over, and you will endure some of the most brutal, narcissistic, sociology, whatever.
But you were in
If
the room though. But you were in the room, right? You get
you're in the room and you'll put up with all kinds of shit because that
right.
magic, you want that. The feeling that you get to see, like seeing the community just like in the collaborative aha moment when the sights and the lights just hit right, the sound is just right, and like the performance, you will hear a pin drop because everybody is just so fucking moved at what they just saw and what they collaboratively built.
Right. See,
You'll
and that kind of stuff. I have a couple friends who've talked to me privately, about being like background actors. I got a buddy out of Chicago that has made a similar decent enough living doing that, and he says the same things that you do. Like, oh man, like I don't know when this is going to air. I don't know when it's going to be on. I might not even be sure what project it was or whatever. But he's like, the things that I've seen people do, how could that not make you want to be like, oh man, is there any drug better? I don't know. I've tried a few. I would rather maybe stick to the thing that I could easily repeat as opposed to the thing that might get me thrown in the pokey.
uh-oh.
So you brought up a couple things at the top that I do want to tackle because for those of you with the benefit of flash photography, I'm a middle-aged white man. Um I don't necessarily have the requisite experience to speak on topics of race and gender. And I want to make sure I'm coming from a place of genuine, like, well, for one, genuine curiosity about a perspective that I don't have, and also being uh compassionate enough to know that I am largely part of the problem. So when you hear people like Taraji P Henson, making statements, and I would argue, as a guy who's watched, I don't know, movies and TV for the better part of the last 15 years, she's famous on a level of like people who are famous. So when she's saying, yeah, no, I'm not getting paid nearly as much as the guy who showed up, twice a week, but I've been here the entire time. Like, what does that make you feel as a person in the industry trying to get in and participate in that collaborative space?
Um, for a moment, it kind of makes me feel, what's the word? Not distressed, but just I lose a little bit of optimism because if
Which is why
I
I wanted to make sure we started with optimism at the top,
right,
I feel like this could really drag things down, but it's an important conversation. But distressing, concerning, depressing. I don't know. I don't want to put I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I get the sentiment there.
yeah, because I mean, it's like if she's not getting the respect that she deserves, that she worked hard for at the position that she's in,
Mm-hmm.
how am I, as a background performer, going to vocalize the treatment that I experience and other BG experience on sets? And having been on the background committee for SAG-AFTRA and having been vocal on different issues that we have faced, like hair and the hair issue, the how there's no trained hair person on set for BG, and we have to endure some of the most
People who, Frank, I mean, again, I'm just going to say it out loud. People who don't know what the fuck they're doing. How's that? That hit
Yeah,
the nail on the head? Because I can see that if you are not being treated, you, I don't. I
it's hard
Yeah.
because like even with Taraji, she got backlash from speaking out. And so there's always this fear of for us lower
Hmm.
rank people, like if we speak out, we're immediately going to be shunned and blacklisted and won't be hired again. And it does happen. I've experienced it countless of times being an advocate for different issues. And it
Do you
goes.
do you feel that uh, ostensibly this particular podcast was created in and around the time that the strikes were ending or had ended, and I wanted to believe at the time that significant differences were being made in the industry in regards to a lot of things that, again, a middle-aged white dude from Iowa just simply wouldn't understand. Do you feel like those things have been communicated down that no, 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 we're in a new world, things are different, you can speak up, you can say, hey man, I've got an issue with X, Y, or Z? Or do you, in your experience, feel that things have kind of been, yeah, they say that, but it's still more of the same? Have you noticed a difference at all?
You know, that's a great question. And I
Sweet, we
would
got it on record that I asked one. All right.
I would actually have to say, let's use this as a timestamp
Okay.
and let's circle back because I have my perspective, and that's something that I think it might be a little too early to share just yet.
Good reason to have you back on the program in the future. I love it. No, we'll bookmark it. But okay, if you're saying that it's a bit too early to call, um,
Because I mean,
yeah,
things are still kind of settling. I do live here in LA, and I was on the strike. I was a strike captain for SAG-AFTRA during the strike, and I was there through the WGA strike,
yeah.
and there's still a lot of discussions amongst the unions about what they're going to do with the potential IATSE strike.
Hmm.
And
And
SAG,
sadly, at the recording of this particular episode, the gentleman, um, just what 2 days ago passed away at a shoot in the
yeah,
studio,
yeah,
and that, that kind of thing is not making anybody feel better, because it's like, you know that's the level, those are the type of people that no one really talks about until things like this happen. They're
yeah,
always in the background, they're never seen, but without them, none of this happens. So
absolutely.
if they're not safe, the hell does that what the hell does that mean for the rest of us? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So yeah, like the strikes, it did bring up important conversations that the community needs to be having and recognize amongst ourselves as unions, as individuals and industry collaborators. SAG, as I understand, they're working on seating their committees for
Mm-hmm.
this next couple years. And so with the question that you asked today, and having seen the movie, a lot of us went to go see the film Origin
Okay.
on the cast system. I think hopefully in the future we'll get a better idea of did we learn anything? And are we applying what we learned, or was it just all smoke and mirrors?
So in that regard, then let's prognosticate a little bit. Let's give ourselves something to compare against when we have you on the program in the future. I said this back in February 2024. Uh, let's see if any of it comes true. Right, with your level of optimism, I am a bitter, dyed in the wool piece of shit cynic. I hate everything. I hate everyone. I think everything sucks. Um, I like to be on the bottom because the only place to go is up. So, where do you think there will be the most growth? What are you the most optimistic about in terms of some of the wins that may have come through the strikes, or just like you kind of said at the top, with the ability to speak more um about issues that previously you had to kind of stay quiet about in terms of the treatment of background actors or the crew or just the people that aren't necessarily always on screen. What are you the most optimistic about going forward?
So, if it's okay, it's not so much what I'm optimistic, because that would mean that it would happen and I
Okay.
have absolutely no control of what can happen, but what I can hope for would
Mm-hmm.
happen is that the rooms, starting with writers, I hope that writers are able to be in the rooms. I hope that writers are sought after more to share their scripts and produce their scripts and actually be a producer in some way of the script that they wrote.
Right, right.
And then the TV rooms, like they need to be in the room. Writers need to be in the TV rooms and they need to have the time to create the scripts that they need to create. And if the story should be spread over 22 episodes, then those writers need to be there to be able to write those 22 episodes and not try to shorten the story to 8 mini whatever films. I mean, I understand that a lot of people like to write solo, but I would argue that there could be writers' rooms for films, and I hope the studios create opportunities, not just from the established writers, but beginners like us.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Or at least writing teams. I know that some movement had
yeah,
been made in terms of writing teams being more represented than previously, but I get what you're saying is like just more opportunity. Like it, not everybody's Taylor Sheridan, and for the record, not everyone should be.
right. And then, like, I hope that there's more people of color included in different initiatives within planning and organizing. Um,
Are you
because
talking like because this is a conversation I think that is sadly a lot larger than the space that we have for this show because
sure,
it is that important. Um where do you think those positions should be? Are we talking producers? Are we talking like execs? Like, because there are places historically, and even now, I'm sitting here on the heels of reading David Zaslav at WB is hell bent on canning the Acme Coyote movie again because no one gave them the money that they wanted and then they wouldn't let anybody bid about it. So I'm sitting here watching a white dude wreck the WB. Um, do we need like where would people of color be better served or served at all in terms of positions outside of say like writers, actors, that kind of thing?
like shoot, like I mean, like Issa says, I mean, we can head our own studio centers. Tyler Perry's got his own thing going on. Oprah Winfrey, I can't say her name. For example, during COVID on Vimeo, I built my own streaming site. The only thing I didn't have was content, and the only thing I could do at that time was produce content.
Right.
So I mean, it's just a matter of allowing us to be in the space. They If people don't want us to be in the space to fill the seats of producers, executive director, CFO, CEO, then and then they're going to create every excuse as to why we can't be in that seat and somebody else is better qualified, even though when you put our resumes next to each other,
It's
it
it's generally because the white dude knew a dude who, it's that old story I use all the time is like, my uncle owns Netflix. Like it's never like on paper the meritocracy of it is all rarely, let me say rarely, the thing that proves itself. It's usually I know a guy who's got the money and this guy over here, Zaslav or Bob Iger, who the hell ever is in charge of whatever.
yes.
They don't
And
care about the art of it. But we're sitting here like, bro, that's the whole point, isn't it?
it absolutely, like, we have the visions, we have the strengths, the skills, the know-how, the passion, the drive, the want to do the job that these people are getting paid to not want to do. And it's not just the knowing of the people, but it's the we can't control our own narratives in this industry.
True.
And
So true. For sure.
when we can't control our own narratives, it it doesn't matter what our resume looks like. It doesn't matter what our experience is that we bring to the table. If Joe Schmo says this person is XYZ, that's it. That's bottom line.
Right.
And any attempts that I do, or anybody, person of color, maybe any woman, I don't know, any person, if they're not in the hierarchy, again, going into the caste system, I cannot stress enough how important it is for everybody to see the film Origin, because I feel if everybody in the industry saw this film and then paired it with the strike experience,
Mm-hmm.
the industry would be what it should be.
And
And
as someone who, like I said, I'm from Iowa. I'm not on the ground boots. I didn't hold a. There wasn't anything to picket in Omaha or whatever it is I'm closest to. So the best I could do is virtual support stuff from a distance. But with you, boots on the ground, there holding a picket sign, marching. What did you feel in terms of like the interaction between the people who are actually on the lines? Did you feel that it was we are in this together, or was it more a we're doing this to get what we need, but at the end of the day I'm still in it for me? I because coming out of the strikes, I have felt that that's been some of the takeaway, is less kind of the idealistic notion of we're all in this together for the future of the industry that you and I can break into, and more of I'm just doing this so I don't lose my spot. It, did you what was your sense of what y'all were fighting for?
so this might bite me in the ass, but I'm gonna answer
I
this
can
from
edit it out if you want. That's fine.
it's okay. Because it's all about the truth and it's all about perspective. And from my perspective, as a whole, as a community, the two unions, they did go in it and they did come out of it as a solid unit.
Mm-hmm.
Were there differences? Absolutely. Were there growing pains? Absolutely. Were there lessons learned? Absolutely. Things that they would do different next time? Absolutely. But at the bottom, they worked together and it changed how we perceive each other and how we want to move forward, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now,
Okay.
for the picketers that weren't there as captains, they came in with such camaraderie. I can't say that word.
Camaraderie. Yeah. No, I get you.
So much passion, so much fight, and so much hope
Mm-hmm.
and strength and fire that it's still here. A lot of the picketers that I talk to now, they miss the picket lines, they miss the energy, and they want to maintain that community that was felt on the picket line.
I am happy to hear that part, because one of the things that I had noticed was, in a weird way, that the I mean, you had some of the themed strikes and the events and things like that, but ultimately it was very much like, holy crap, there's a shit ton of us out here. I've never interacted with these people before. I've never seen them. But then when you're walking next to the person that wrote the thing that you base your entire style and or whatever around, and they're just like a regular person, and they're like fighting for the same thing you're, yeah, that level of, I'm happy to hear that that is something that people are still uh I don't know if they're trying to replicate or keep going, but I'm happy to hear that, like, no, the community of it was very much at the forefront. That makes me feel better because I'm hoping to have a community to like join at some point. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Uh,
like, so that makes me feel better.
yeah. But well, that also though, as a Black woman, just because we went on strike, it doesn't mean people's prejudices, whatever, just stopped.
True, true.
As a Black woman, I experienced some brutal, brutal, brain traumatizing PTSD experiences that I'm still working through. People, ideologies that just, they did not want me there. And they went through extreme efforts to try to not have me there. And because of how our industry is, there's no real protections
Mm-hmm.
for someone like me. And while on the picket line.
Right.
And um that was unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but for my overall goal, someday I do hope to be a studio owner. I do hope to be a David Sass flaw, whatever, but a better.
But yeah, I want your job, but I want to do it correctly. No,
Right.
that's I feel that in my bones for sure.
All of these experiences that are not the most ideal experiences, that are character building
Mm-hmm.
experiences, they're forming the foundation of my studio. And so
So let's talk about you a little bit more in this specific. What okay, you got a goal. You want to head your own studio, Prodco, whatever. But what kind of stories do you want to tell? What types of things do you feel like you want to communicate in terms of the work you want to do? What are you working on now? Is it the same kind of stuff as maybe you started out doing, or did you find something that is more in line with where you are now? Just like, what do you do?
so this is where I would be great at a studio executive position because I am, oh, I see the timer, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I am the
I
person,
still refuse to pay for Zoom, so at least it gives us a timer. But you got
yes,
10 minutes to talk about yourself. Let's go nuts.
yes. I am that person that will write all types of scripts,
Mm-hmm.
TV, film, short, features. Like I'll start one idea in the morning and another idea at night, and I have just notebooks upon notebooks of scripts.
Are you a physical notebook person?
I am.
Yes. All right. We need to start an absolute army of. I love my physical notebook people. Just if you're not
Yes,
handwriting like your stuff, I it's gonna take a minute for me to warm up to you. I can't do the notes app stuff. I know people that do. No, I
I
need I need I
am.
need my notebook people. I want to keep that industry alive.
Yes. And so, like, I know they say it's bad to not focus on one genre, one whatever.
I've heard
Um,
that too. But like I don't like all of the same story. Let me tell seven. If I want to write seven, I should be able to write seven. I completely
right.
understand.
And so that's what I do. I just write. I just write all kinds of stories. A lot of them have with the intent of like social justice, a human lesson of a sort, hold a mirror to ourselves, from my life experiences. Um, but then I also write a lot of action, adventure. I shy away from a horror. Um,
I love it, and I love people that can do it. But in a similar way, I can't write comedy because I think it's too hard. I find horror to be the same way. It's like I love the people that can do it and do it well, but it's not my thing. I can't do it. It's tough.
so like a majority, sorry, I have cats if you can hear them. A majority of the short films I have made have been horror films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so superstitious. Like ghosts, I just like if I delve into a ghost story, that shit's gonna stick with me and it's gonna haunt me. And
Oh,
I'm not
so you think you're gonna be like these ghosts are gonna be like, no, 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 no. I want my credit. I want my screen time. I want my fee. You're writing a story about me. Just because I'm dead doesn't mean you can't pay me. That's not
like Listen, like I've seen some shit. I'm from
Really?
Iowa. I'm from Iowa, and I've had some of the most scariest ghost experiences there.
Are then let's talk a little Iowa just real quick. Are you familiar with the Villisca Axe Murder House?
Yeah,
Oh,
never,
dude, for
but I
for my listeners, baby, you gotta look that story up, man. Whoo boy, that shit is wild. Yeah, dude,
didn't they
Iowa
make
ghost
that?
stories are crazy.
Yeah, they made that into a movie. I thought with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, yeah. It's just leave it at that, man. This is we could go a half an hour just off of that, but just because it's like, hey, you welcome a dude. It wasn't even that they welcomed a dude into their home. It was like their house was near railroad tracks. They went to sleep and then they're dead. Like,
Uh, no,
bro,
no,
lock your doors. That's all I'm saying. Just lock them up.
yep. I mean, yeah, and so like, and I want to do more industry events. Like I have film festival curate, designing production experience, and I have all these things I want to do, but it's
Right.
just a matter of people being like, okay, Jesse, I trust you. Let's build this together.
when
And
when we're still close enough to the new year for the whole new year new me resolution stuff. So coming into 2024, with the idea that like you want to meet new people, you want to make more connections, you want to get in more rooms, be a part of more groups. What do you feel are the best ways to go about doing that? Are we talking because you're in LA, so I'm going to assume that you know more about like the meet and greets. Do those work, like the meetups at the bars or whatever that I get jealous that I can't go to because I live 1,500 miles away? Thanks, David Steinberg, for putting up the West Side Meters group that I can't attend. Sorry, that was an unnecessary shout out, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah, no, like, so even though I have like all these ambitious goals, I'm so much an introvert. Like after a day on set or even just going to a network meeting or whatever, I will spend the entire next day just sitting in silence.
That decompression, is that
Yes.
you need a day or so for the batteries to recharge, kind of thing?
Yes, because I'm so much an empathetic person. I
Mm-hmm.
will take on energies, whatever. But anyways, what I find that works best is when I go to an event, if I leave with at least one contact, it's a success.
Got it.
I
Love it.
I'm so stoked and just have a good, honest conversation with one person, not seeking any gains, not pitching anything, just in it to get to know the person genuinely
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just try to establish a genuine connection that would could potentially build to a friendship. Because at the end of the day, you want a tribe. You want to build with a family. You want to
Mm-hmm.
build people that you can stand for 12 plus years. And so, and I don't like to take risks. I'll take calculated risks, but like this industry, everybody's pitching, everybody's selling.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the people that don't sell. I like the people that just exist. And I think that works best long term for a lot of, at least in my experience, when we just try to build a friendship, not a business relationship. It
For sure. Yeah, no, I get that a lot. From the people that are far enough away from the kind of LA that, hey, we're so far away, like I'm in Chicago, Kansas City, Minneapolis, South Dakota. Shout out to Leah from South Dakota.
hey
Uh
yo.
Hope to have her on the program here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no, why I can't get anything out of you professionally. So I might as well just be a decent human being to you and like make an actual friendship with you because there's nothing for me to take advantage of to sell. And I kind of wish that more of that gravitated towards kind of LA, Hollywood or whatever, because it just feels icky. I mean, it's not the most astute word necessarily. It just feels icky when you meet the people who are like, you're not authentic. You're here for something. It feels gross. So I feel that, and I'm sorry that that is still a thing that kind of you have to navigate. I'm assuming we're going to have to navigate that forever, but I would like the percentage of it to be slightly lowered over time.
Absolutely.
Jessica, in the last 2 minutes, normally what I would do here is my favorite pick a fight segment, but I feel like we've done that. So what are you watching right now that you want to tell other people that they need to experience? We've talked about Origin. Give me another
Ah.
one in the last couple minutes. And
Uh,
then also where can people find you? Where can they find your stuff? Where can they reach out and connect with you?
okay, so Twitter, I'll start there. I don't even know what my handles are. Like I don't promote myself that well. I think
When
Instagram.
we have you on again next, that'll be your homework. Learn to promote yourself better. I will include your handle in the show notes and the description, and
Thank
we'll
you.
we'll shout it out on socials. I don't really even remember what mine is either, so let's be honest.
What I'm watching? Darn. I've been watching a lot of the screeners for the Academy or SAG Awards or whatever. Um, Darn, that really threw me through a loop.
I love asking that question because I read that people when they go to like generals and stuff, they're like, what are you watching? What are you in? And it's like I literally sit and watch TV and movies all day. I've seen everything, but when asked, people are like, I've never seen a TV show ever. I don't know what's a movie.
Well, I did watch Little House on the Prairie. I was trying to get some learn some background for a script idea. That show is stressful.
Bruh, listen. Okay, we're gonna go out on the old prairie roots. Research the Villisca Axe Murder House and research Laura Ingalls Wilder and Little House on the Prairie. That'll be everybody's homework for the next episode. Jessica Brown, before we run
Hello.
out of time, thank you very much. We will have you back in the future, and we will reference this episode and see how far we've come. Thank you very much for being on Bolded Slugs today.
Thanks for having me.
Bolded Slugs, the podcast, would like to thank our partners at filmsnobbery.com for hosting our show. Today's music is Sublime by Ken Bashari from the Free Music Archive, licensed under Creative Commons. Bolded Slugs, the podcast, is a Dapper Duck media production.